which is kind of funny.
Right. But then I'm just always curious. I know you're probably sick of the story, but Nirvana played here, and there's got to be a backstory as to how you got called.
Right.
Keep
Yeah.
that secret. And
there's actually 3 pictures of it up there. One just of Jay Mascis, one with Joan Jett in front, which had all 4, and then one just of Dave Grohl in front of the logo. Yeah.
Check it when I go to the bathroom.
Very soon.
Very soon. Well, for me, yeah. As long as I keep talking, maybe I'll distract myself.
I'll talk to George.
Cool. No, it was basically a series of things going on that we didn't even know about. So anyway, yeah, the Nirvana thing, basically, there was a guy named Jim Rhoda who is part of Dave Grohl's production company. And he played in a band called, not Puny Human.
With the Clutch guy.
Yeah, with the Clutch guy, but also like he was part of the Norman Bates and the Showerheads thing that went on here, and so like he had played here a couple of times, and he had really great experiences, and he was he apparently kept telling Dave that he had to come here, he would love it, and of course, I guess it just didn't happen. Whatever. Hey, you want to go to Outer Greenpoint by the polluted fucking river? Yeah, sure, great. That's terrific. Amongst the homeless shelters. So, yeah, it just didn't happen. And then he had gotten word that they were looking to do this party after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. So Dave basically just wanted to have like a private party. And so he suggested to Dave that they do it here. And then someone else had suggested another venue. So then... rewind 2000, I think it was 2014, April Fool's Day, driving back from Restaurant Depot with our plastic cups and our fucking stupid shit that we got to buy here. And I get a phone call from California. I had a phone call from California earlier, and the guy left a message, and he's like, hey, this is JC. I'm calling from California. I'm calling from LA. Doesn't say, like, what he's calling for. He's like, just give me a call back. I was like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I'm going to call him back. And then... calls again. I see the same number as I'm driving down Union, and I'm just like, oh, it's the same fucking number. I'm like, I'm not going to pick it up. And he leaves a message, and right at that moment, I get a text message from my friend Denise, who comes to all his shows here, and she works for Dave Grohl's production company as well. And she was like, dude, if you get a call from California, answer your fucking phone. So that at that moment, I pick up the phone and I listen. We were sitting and I played it through the system in the car, and it was like, "Hey, this is JC from Dave Grohl's office," and blah blah blah. And I was like, George is in the passenger seat. He's like, "Fucking pull over now!" And I just pulled over, and I called him back, and he was like, I still thought he was joking. It was really funny.
April Fool's Day, like that's
it was
really
weird.
Fucking weird.
It was weird, and
I wonder how little business gets transacted on April Fool's.
I know, right? Yeah, it was fucking totally weird, and so we talked, and I still was kind of skeptical, and then Dave had spoken to Foo Fighters booking agency agent at like around the same time, and we talked, and we were just like, holy shit, this is real. And from that point on, the 3 of us were the only people who really knew, and it was probably a week later that the show happened, and we told our whole staff to show up at 10 o'clock at night. It's like mandatory, you have to be here. And they all showed up, and we were just like, okay, Nirvana's playing, guys. At that point, I think most of them probably knew.
Yeah. There
was a photo booth guy who came, who Dave Grohl had hired, like their company had hired, and he had no idea what he was there for. He just had a photo booth.
Oh, wow.
It was so funny. I eventually told him. But yeah, it was really cool, like really... easy people. They showed up 2 hours late. It was fucking kind of a shit show in that respect. But like Courtney Love was here, and but the first people who showed up were Butch Vig and Gibby Haynes.
Wow.
And it was like it was wild. It got really, really fucking crazy. But in all honesty, there was maybe 100 people watching them when they played.
Yeah.
They played from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. The set list was awesome. Joan Jett was awesome. It was great because I walked in the back and somebody introduced me to Dave, and he was like, and Dave was just like, hey man, thanks so much for having us. I was like,
yeah, no problem.
Okay, dude. And he's like, oh, did you ever see Nirvana play? I was like, nah, I think I stood outside one of your shows once, but I never saw you play. And I was like, but I'm excited for tonight. It's cool. And then somebody called him away to go like hit a snare drum or something. And But it was very. I'll say that like it took a couple of years off my life. Keeping the secret,
Yeah.
The reason that we kept it as such a tight secret is A, because it was a fucking private party, but B, because we had the Descendents and Hot Water Music here the year before, and it was horrible. Like, it was 2,000 people online, and we were really worried about getting closed down. So we were worried if like word got out that Nirvana was playing, that like 1,000 people would show up at 2:00 in the morning, and what the fuck are we supposed to do then? You know? So
I remember that because like it was Riot Fest, right?
Yeah.
And I think it like poured or some shit.
It was like almost like a fucking hailstorm. It was crazy, like big wind, hurricane style. But it only lasted like 10 minutes. But because of AEG's insurance situation, they just canceled the whole fucking thing. So at that point, unbeknownst, at that point, Justin Skirty was backstage, and he texted me like, "Hey, why don't you have Hot Water play?" And I was like, "Sure." So I texted Jason. Jason called me immediately. He's like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." Totally. And then he's like, "Wait, hold on." And there was a bunch of things going on that I didn't know about that involved the Descendents and that them playing here. But then the way I found out was Jason was like, "Hold on." And he's like, I hear somebody in the background. He's like, "Hey, you want the Descendents to play too?" And I was like, "Sure, man, whatever. Cool." Like, I'm not the biggest fan. So like, I was like, "Yeah, great. I'd rather have Hot Water, but it's cool." And I mean, obviously I didn't say that.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, it'll be fun. But, like the limitations of this place, I didn't know what to expect. And that was, again, I was bartending that night. And that night we rang what we would ring in a week.
Yeah.
And me and George were bartending. I was dealing with the show. We were just unprepared. Security wasn't here yet. There was nothing. It was 6:30 in the afternoon. It was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
We ran out of almost everything by like 11. But like the worst part was all these, like basically Riot Fest tweeted that the show moved to 4,000 people that were at the show. So there were people running down the block, to get here, and it was raining out, and like the people who were in the front here were like just so pissed off that they couldn't get in, but it was already way over packed.
Yeah, it's like better to be in the back than at the door. You know?
Yeah, like, when we were walking around going, "No, just leave. You're not getting in. No one is getting in. It's done." I mean, it was done within 10 minutes of like the show being moved. It was, the people were piling on top of each other in the bathrooms because everybody wanted to be right there, and the Descendents wouldn't let anybody in the back room. So there was like 400 people here. It was so uncomfortable and so ridiculous. But I mean, for a lot of the kids that came, it was like the best night of their life. So it was cool.
It's funny when I hear you describe this. I've known you for so many years that any other situation you would ever describe this would be a good story. We'd be saying we're at the show and all these crazy things happen. But when you're the owner,
the
it's
logistics of it.
Everything is a nightmare. It's you've been around bands your whole life, and now you're the man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was, but it was. I mean, we pulled it off, and again, that was another stepping stone. I forgot about that show.
Yeah,
I think that was before Carcass. Actually, it was. It was before.
Because I remember, because I was gonna go, and then it started raining, and then I saw like the footage, or maybe somebody said like, "Holy shit, the Descendents are playing St. Vitus," and I was like, "Oh man."
The ceiling was dripping. It was so fucking hot in here.
That's
it was just like it was so fucking Looney Tunes. And I was just happy that Hot Water played. Obviously, it's like they're good friends of mine, and everybody had a great time. It was fun. Even the bands who played after whose show got pushed back, they were like this band Guida. I can never pronounce it. Guida.
Yes, I always see
from
them.
Italy.
Yeah,
they were like fucking so psyched. The next day, I saw these pictures of them with Milo in the basement. They were like, "We Descendents open for us." Like, yeah,
the Descendents are like really huge in my life, so like I would feel the same way. But same thing with Hot Water. So, but the Descendents, like for me, a guy who never really loved super punk stuff, I always liked that type of shit. But like they had songs. It was different, I guess,
Yeah, the only song I like is "I'm the One I've Been in."
Yeah.
California pop punk to me is just too fucking happy.
I hate it.
Like I'm East Coast all the way, man. Even California hardcore, I think, is fucking just too happy.
Don't like it. Yeah.
Like, why are you so fucking happy?
I'm
Fuck
with
you.
you. But the Descendants.
Oh, is it because you only have to work like 2 days a week to pay your rent? Fuck you. Cool, good job, dude. Meanwhile, George and I have been working since we were like fucking 12.
Me and Josh DeMarco used to say that because we were touring around at the time with Day in the Life, And every California band we would play with would have like a DJ, they'd have like a rappy influence, and we'd be like, why are these bands so happy that are from California? Music isn't happy. You're not supposed to be happy.
Yeah, the
Music
weather's
is
nice.
tough. Music is hard.
Well, they're all and they all have tons of free time to become really good musicians. And then get like 16 master's degrees. It's just fucking, I don't get it. Whatever, good for them. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, it's just been so much crazy shit here, and like the 2 shows with Anthrax, that was just fucking Looney Tunes. And Megadeth was, to me, like the weirdest, craziest one. But I mean, just because like you hear all these stories about Dave Mustaine and whatnot, and he was perfectly fine.
I've also heard stories about his bus driver, and you can't look at him. And I heard all these
that can't be
stories
true,
about
man.
touring.
That can't be true. That can't be true.
And then maybe it's the thing too. People act a certain way, but when they come here,
no, you know what it is.
Strips them down.
I'll explain what this is, because this is a big pet peeve of mine. Like when we had Bruce Dickinson here, it was definitely something that happened where like we got this day sheet, and the day sheet was like, Bruce will come in and he will order a latte, and like all this fucking weird shit. And I was like, I'm savvy enough at this point to know that like when that management, booking agents, all these people jump through fucking hoops that they don't have to jump through. Then the bands show up and nobody gives a shit about any of it.
Right.
It's like they need this and they need that and blah blah blah, and you just like, I used to jump through hoops the same way, and then I realized that like I was like, these people are just trying to justify their fucking jobs, what's left of them, of the music industry, and I just like and fine, it's their jobs. I respect that, but like they just get so like the Dave Mustaine thing, like fucking management, everybody was just like fucking so kid gloves with him, know, and I just like I don't get starstruck that often, and like I just didn't really interact that much with him. I was like, hey man, what's going on? You know? It wasn't like Dave Grohl where it was like really easy to interact with him. I was like downstairs hanging out with him and his wife. I'm like, oh, you pregnant? Cool, great.
Yeah.
It's like it's everything is different, but with the big bands, it's definitely like Anthrax. It was an 18-page production in Hospitality Writer. No, not even production. It was just Hospitality. It was 18 pages. Before morning, load in, middle of the day. I mean, you've done big tours, like how this shit works, and all these bands, they send like their European fucking festival rider,
right?
Because the booking agent's too fucking lazy to deal with like getting something new, and it's like, what is this? And immediately I just be like, dude, I don't go shopping for anybody.
Yeah.
Unless you're really gonna fucking like you throw a big catering budget at me, it's part of the deal. I'll go shopping for him. Like I went shopping for Boris. Because Boris, like they have a daughter that they bring around with a 13-year-old daughter.
But I've seen tour managers be like, no, it's Gatorade, not Powerade.
Oh, it's
like have this conversation.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and you're curious, does the band give a fuck?
No, the
or
band
is
doesn't.
like,
No, and 9 times out of 10,
getting
it's not for the band, it's for the crew. So they're doing it for the crew. That's why they want the buyouts. That's why they want everything. Like the band doesn't give a fuck. A band like Megadeth doesn't give a shit about a $10 buyout.
Yeah.
Or a $20 buyout. It's not important to them. But the crew, they want it. So like the tour manager's basically sticking up for his crew guys, and I get that, and that's cool. And I've never, like it wasn't like Dave Mustaine was downstairs eating fucking pretzels,
Yeah.
But the crew certainly was. So that's really what that's about. And I'm, I deal with the crew a lot more than I deal with the bands. So I'm more than happy to accommodate them if they need that. It's like fine, whatever.
You brought up like an interesting point about money in the music business. It's like these guys are all
What's that mean?
Exactly. It's just like completely like not someone like Megadeth, because obviously they are super successful, but I guess like like the other ones underneath, like I don't know, whoever like the B would be to Megadeth's A,
like Gojira or something. Like,
yeah,
they played here.
Something like that. Great band. But yeah, like you do have to make yourself useful somewhat before they're like, hey, maybe next tour we could cut this guy out of our budget.
Right.
So
yeah, it's justifying your job.
Pretty tough.
And I get that. It's like,
and the band's going to complain to the manager, and then the manager's going to complain to the tour manager. So the tour manager's trying to put out fires before they start.
Yeah, but there's douchey tour managers. Zach Wilde's tour manager is a fucking dickwad.
Yeah.
Like that guy can go suck a bunch of dicks. But like fucking, you can't. I don't give a shit. I love Blasco, who's actually his management his management manager.
His drummer
He's the bass
is
player.
really cool.
Yeah,
Jeff.
Yeah. And the whole crew was really cool, but that guy was a fucking jerk off. I'm not even gonna tell the fucking story, but anyway, it's just like, it's so rare that I have those experiences though. Like most people are so fucking cool, and we're all in the same fucking team. We're all just trying to pull off this crazy shit. I mean, the Anthrax crew, those guys were so fucking bummed out when they saw this room. They're like, "What the fuck are we gonna do now?"
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. They built a sound booth in the middle room, which was fucking ridiculous. Jeez. And then Anthrax is like, "Hey, we're gonna play a show at midnight." Coming back from another show, and they had to rebuild the sound booth at midnight. It was fucking stupid. But the band wants it, so these guys they're magic, man. They make it happen. I'm very impressed.
Wasn't that like some kind of like benefit, right, or something?
Yeah, Gilda's. It's the Gilda Radner Breast Cancer Fund.
Oh wow, I didn't. I knew it was some kind of benefit, but yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Anthrax fan, so I was following all that stuff. So
yeah, I don't ever get to see any shows, so.
It's kind of a weird.
How about this for a bar question? Can a bar ever get so crowded that you don't make money because no one can move?
Yes. Well, that was another when we started getting really busy. Excuse me. That was one of our problems was people flow. So, but when you have those big shows, you don't make any money because everybody just goes immediately into the back room and they don't move, and they don't want to have to pee, so they're not going to drink. But like for regular shows, in between bands, people come out, and we pull all the stools, we pull all the chairs, we pull everything, the tables, everything, so that there's just more room to move, and it doesn't encourage people to camp out at the bar,
right?
Because like that, then they just get in the way, and that's how fist fights start and all that other shit. Yeah. So yeah, that's St. Vitus in a nutshell.
All right.
A lot of agita. No, I love it, man. Like, and just to cap it off, it's just kind of like. I'm so proud of the run that we've had. Like it's pretty incredible when you meet people all around the world who know who your place is, and you've been able to pull off these events that like are seemingly impossible. And also like there was a bunch of kids from Canada here on Saturday, and it's like, this is the new CBGBs. I mean, like everybody knows everything that goes on here, and I'm just like,
not even an exaggeration. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to sort of fathom that because like we're when you, especially when I was still bartending regularly, I was just like, we're the new what? Like I'm fucking. But I gotta fucking serve fucking drinks to people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it doesn't have to be a perfect analogy. Like we all have been to CB, so I think people that have been there will be like, "Wait, that doesn't make any sense." But it really is a compliment. It's a way to take the compliment.
It is. Oh my god!
Especially the state of music and playing in clubs and a circuit to play, and what you do and the type of club that you are.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, it's like for anybody who runs a venue, it's like you have to sacrifice a lot to impress the bands, the booking agents, the management, and that shit spreads like wildfire. When somebody comes and has a great experience, and that's been from the very beginning, it's always been the thing that I was most focused on, was like I just wanted people to walk out of here going, that was the best fucking night I've ever had. And I would say the Descendents show was, I heard that so many times at that show, and I couldn't believe that people were remotely happy about that show because it looked miserable. Like I knew if I was in that room I'd be so fucking angry. But that kind of showed me it was like this, the potential for this is here.
Yeah.
And that people really, they just want they want a great live experience. They want that intimate contact. They don't want bouncers in their faces and all this bullshit. They don't want the separation. And and credit to bands like Megadeth and fucking Anthrax and some of these bigger, like fucking big bands that roll in here and just like, I mean, Nirvana was different because Nirvana comes from a punk background. I didn't expect that to be difficult at all, honestly.
Yeah.
And they acted exactly the way I thought they were going to act. Like they're just like, fuck it, man. We're here. Who gives a shit? But like, for like bona fide, like quote unquote difficult rock star bands, like they just got up there. No security. No one fucking stage dive. No one. Hear that, insurance company? No one stage dive.
Even Lorde was here.
No, she was not.
Oh, she wasn't?
She was not.
Oh,
she had to go play the big day out in Australia, so she flew back to Australia. She was replaced by the guy from Deer Tick and Jay Mascis.
Okay. And maybe I was thinking.
I
Of
mean,
Saint
and
Vincent.
no offense to Lord, I'll take fucking Jay Mascis. Jay Mascis playing those Nirvana songs was fucking magic.
Yeah.
I had like the correlation of Dinosaur Jr.'s influence upon the grunge scene really didn't sink into me. I mean, I know their influence on the shoegaze scene, but like the grunge scene, him singing those songs and fucking playing the solos, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I totally got it. It was, I mean, he couldn't have been more of a perfect person to do it, honestly. You know, I mean, Kim was great, and you know, everybody was fucking great. It was just St. Vincent was awesome. She's sick.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I mean, it was just like, I don't know. Yeah, I felt like I only went it. The only song I watched was "Drain You," and Jay Mascis did that. You remember that was like my favorite song. On that record.
Probably. You actually made a mixtape.
Did I?
Yeah. And
What's that?
For me.
We were so in love, George.
No, wait, no. Actually, on a plane.
Oh, on a plane, yeah.
Was on there. But it's weird because Nirvana can do anything that they wanted to do after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they came here. I mean,
yeah, but but Dave knows the power of doing that shit, of doing those small venues. I mean, he played a pizza place in California and shit like that. Like those guys they did that shit all the time. So I got it. I did have to fight a little to get it, but you know, it was like, and it almost didn't happen because of insurance situations, William Morris and all this shit. I mean, it was like, I wrote like this heartfelt email to all like the bigwigs at William Morris. I was like, guys, nothing's going to happen. Everybody's 50 years old that's coming to this thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's 60 years old that's coming to this thing. You know, and in walks Dave Grohl with his pregnant wife and his mom. It's like, you know, this is not going to be a problem.
I don't think people understand how much insurance companies rule this whole business.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's a huge expense.
And it's a bunch of people just have to check boxes.
And then they don't cover anything anyway.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
at the end of the day...
It's all litigation at the end of the day. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's really not going to cover you, but...
Not litigation, negotiation. But yeah, I mean, it's...
It's changed music. It's changed how people tour. It's changed how expensive it is.
Well, we all know the original incident that caused a lot of that. L'Amour's Life of Agony.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was, you know, the family sued the band, they sued Roadrunner, they sued L'Amour's. I mean, it was a huge game changer for everybody. I mean, before, you remember going to Sundance, it was a fucking free-for-all. You know, it's fucking crazy. Like, the amount of times I fell on my neck and my head when I was stage diving, I mean, it was